And amidst all the talk of war with Pakistan, let's raise the real question that perhaps now lies at the heart of what we are seeing. Is water the best way to send out a message to choke Pakistan and act as a deterrent? Should India be building more dams before we are in a position to actually ensure that Pakistan gets less water? What next in this Indus Water face-off? Is water really a weapon to be used in battles like this? I'm joined by A.K. Bajaj, former chairman, Central Water Commission and ex-officio secretary to Government of India, Ministry of Water Resources. Ambassador Yash Sinha, former diplomat, was involved in various negotiations that have taken place in the past over water sharing. And Dr. Anjal Prakash is an expert on the Hindu Kush Himalayas water system. Appreciate all of you joining us. Ambassador Sinha, you might have just seen Prime Minister Modi's comment, his first remarks on holding the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance, saying India's water belongs to India. Now that, in a sense, goes against the very principles of the Indus Water Treaty, or indeed most water treaties, where upper riparian states, in this case India, share the water with the lower riparian states. Do you believe this is a more effective way of sending out a message to Pakistan?
Thank you, Rajdeep, for having me on your show. I think there are 3 points that I need to make. One is the treaty is very unfair to India. When it was negotiated during the Cold War, Pakistan had patrons that ensured that it got 80% of the waters of the Indus Basin, while India got 20%, despite the fact that 39% of the Indus Basin lies in India. And only 47% lies in Pakistan. The rest lie in Tibet, China, and Afghanistan. So that's the first point. Second, we can walk away from the treaty because the Vienna Convention on Treaties states that if there is a fundamental change in circumstances, and just yesterday I read a report by Dr. Atul Kulkarni, I believe he's a top glaciologist, where he has said that the eastern rivers, the glacial water meltwaters have reduced considerably, while in the west, which is at a higher reach in the Karakoram range, it hasn't reduced. So there has been a material change in terms of flows of all the eastern and the western rivers. But and that would basically, he terms it as the Karakoram anomaly. But I'm sure there are experts on your panel that would know much more on this. The third point I want to make was the fact that people say that you cannot store water even on the run-of-river projects. Again, I will defer to the experts, but what I learned that, for instance, the Kishan Ganga has a live storage of 7.5 million cubic meters and a dead storage of 11 million cubic meters, while Baglihar has a live storage of 32 million cubic meters and dead storage of 352 million cubic meters. Now, how can we use the dead storage? That is, again, something that our experts, because the live storage we know is used for hydroelectricity, etc. But how do we use the dead storage? So I think there are various possibilities as far as the Indus Water Treaties go. I was a co-agent for India at the Kishan Ganga arbitration when the interim measures were announced, and then the final measures came in December of 2013, the final award, and I had already left for Sri Lanka. But I was aware, I went for 2 rounds of arbitration to The Hague. So I think we must be better informed, and I'm glad you've got experts on the panel who can throw some light on how we can.
I'll come to the experts, but I just want to know from you, just very quickly and succinctly, you're saying that this is an effective diplomatic measure to send a message out to Pakistan. Whether on the ground the water stops overnight is another matter. That we'll discuss with the expert. But you're saying, at least for now, when tensions have risen, it is a message sent to Pakistan that India has the option of getting a complete review of the treaty, even if in the future the two sides come to the negotiating table. Am I right?
Rajiv, we've already asked for a review. We even sent a reminder earlier this year. This is all before Pahalgam. And Pakistan has been obfuscating. It has been obstructionist on any project, whether it's Ratte, whether it's Baglihar, whether it's Kishan Ganga. So I think, and we have projects on the anvil, new projects on the anvil, which we must go ahead with. But this is a signal This is a signaling to Pakistan that if you continue with your policy of state-sponsored terrorism, there will be a price to pay.
Okay, let's come to the specifics. And I want to come to you, A.K. Bajaj, former Chairman, Central Water Commission. On Monday, that's yesterday, the National Hydroelectric Power Corporation closed all the gates at Bagliar and Salal dams on the Chenab, a tributary of the river Indus, with the purpose ostensibly to fill them up after week-long flushing to optimize their water carrying capacity. But just the flushing and closure of these two dams has reportedly triggered panic in Pakistan during the Kharif growing season. Is this an act, you believe, that actually reduces the water flow along the Chenab into Pakistan already?
Yes, it is reducing water flow to the Pakistan areas, as we have seen photographs of the dried up river near to Jammu. But what I want to stress is that Ambassador Sinha has mentioned the dead storage and live storage capacities. The live storage capacities are very small compared to what is the actual flows in the river. So depending on what flow is coming at what point of time, these storages can only be used for stopping water for maybe 2 days or 3 days or 4 days at the most. So
these
we
are
will
all
need much bigger storages.
So how long would that take? If you really wanted, if you really wanted Mr. Bajaj to do this in a long, rather than just short-term measures, how long would that take to create the infrastructure that is needed?
The first project with a substantial storage is the Pakuldul project that is being constructed by India, and that is as per the treaty, because till now we were following all the provisions of the treaty. So that project was allowed under the treaty provisions. So that is the first project which is going up in these western rivers, and it has substantial storage which we can utilize for stopping or for reducing the flows to Pakistan. But that has been going on, construction has been going on for the last 3-4 years, and it is not expected to be completed another 3-4 years it is likely to take. So major capacity to stop waters will only come when we build storages dams. And one other point is that just building storages dams will...
go ahead.
Just building storage dams will not help, because by building storage dams we can store the water, but eventually when the dam fills up, we will have to release. So what we will need to do is also build infrastructure to move this water from the western rivers to the dry and parched areas of Punjab, Rajasthan, Haryana, or the eastern rivers. This water will also need to be diverted to the eastern rivers to actually make an impact on Pakistan and reduce the water flows that are going to Pakistan in the western rivers.
Okay, given what we've just heard, Dr. Anjal Prakash, you're an expert on the Hindu Kush Himalayas water system, and there are many ecologists, environmentalists who believe that all of this is not conducive to the fragile ecosystem of the Himalayas. Easy to come on TV programs and say we can divert the waters, build this big infrastructure. These are extremely ecologically sensitive areas, and building these projects will take years. Do you believe that this is a wise step? There are even those who are saying that it is not in the interest of India necessarily to start diverting the water flow.
No, I totally agree that this is the entire abeyance of the Indus Water Treaty, and the review is definitely in the interest of India. I have written a couple of articles in 2023 itself of how India can use water as a weapon as deterrence for Pakistan, because it has the huge impact on the Pakistan economy. I'll come back to that later. But the question is also that the Hindu Kush Himalayan region is a very fragile fragile region. It's one of the newest mountains in the world, and also it's one of the most, the number of population, the people who are there is one of the densest populated mountains in the world. And this means that whatever we are planning, it has to be very, 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 what I would say, strategically planned, and also looking at the ecological system, the fragility of the mountain system there. So this has to be planned in together with all the stakeholders in mind. But I don't totally agree that the abeyance of the treaty has an impact. I have also been writing and pointing out that
How
this,
much of
in the wake of climate change, you have to understand, Rajiv, that
how much of an impact, Dr. Prakash, would it have if tomorrow we are talking about three western rivers, Chenab, Jhelum and Indus, where India gives 80% of the water to Pakistan. We have the three eastern rivers where we have exclusive rights, Satluj, Beas and Ravi. Are we saying that you can actually divert all the water of the western rivers? Is that what we would do or could do?
No, I don't think it is possible. No, I don't think it's possible to divert all the water, as my co-panelist also has pointed it out. What we are actually trying to do here is because you have to understand that the treaty has actually stopped us in building any big infrastructure in this area, and also the entire system is very, very fragile in nature. So we have to work around that. But diverting. Under the treaty, we have to share the information, which is where we are actually have a strategic advantage at this point. So you have to understand that Pakistan's 25% of GDP comes from irrigation and agriculture, and this is the only source of water for them. Also, in the wake of climate change, glacier systems are at a huge risk, as one of the Mr. Sinha has pointed out. I have been working this area for far too long. About 40 to 50% of the water that flows in the upper Indus region actually comes from glacier melt, and these glacier systems are under huge pressure at this moment because of the changing climatic conditions. And last 10 to 15 years has been a problem for the entire sea system. So we ourselves are actually feeling the brunt of the stress systems, and our water flow has been reducing. And in fact, I'm trying to call saying that we must review. You also have to understand this is 65 years old treaty. That time Bretton Woods institutions also had a very different take. Now at this moment they are they have a very different understanding, not only understanding but also different placement in the political system. So we also have to see those strategic advantage that India has. It has gone so far, it is in a much better condition to negotiate a better a condition which Indians will be much more advantageous than Pakistanis.
Yes, Sinha, the truth is there will be those who are listening who will say there are moral questions involved. Water does not, the water that flows from the Himalayas doesn't belong to one country. There is a natural flow of water, and that was really, many believed, actually the purpose behind the Indus Water Treaty. Many actually saw it as an example where two countries, even in a conflict situation, would not allow water for ethical reasons to be stopped to one country. Do you believe, therefore, that the world will see this as a punitive measure against Pakistan and its farmers, or India will be able to justify it to the world? Should we even attempt to stop water to Pakistan?
Pradeep, I think as the panelists have said that you cannot stop water completely to Pakistan, but even the international codes on the upper riparian and lower riparian weren't even finalized, weren't even discussed when India signed this treaty. We were under pressure by the Western powers, the World Bank, to sign what was patently an unequal treaty, expecting that in good faith, what we do will be reciprocated by Pakistan. And what we've got from Pakistan it's apparent. So I think we are well within our rights to do it. What the world thinks about whether we are in breach of the treaty, etc., is, in my opinion, and my personal opinion, is important, but not so important as sending a message to Pakistan that your lifeline, economic lifeline, is in our hands. And while we do not want to stop all the waters, but if you continue to attack India through actors, government actors, non-state actors, and continue, don't turn off the faucet of terrorism, then there will be a price to pay. So I think the moral question is this, that the general in Rawalpindi must realize The people of Pakistan must realize what the general in Rawalpindi has got them into. So I think that is more important, in my opinion. And I think
Right.
India wants to send a very clear message. And that's why it's held it in abeyance and not abrogated it.
Just to tell our viewers, choking Pakistan completely, as our guests are saying, is not an easy task. The mean annual flow of the western rivers, that's the Indus, the Jhelum and Chenab, is 136.1 million acre feet. Compared with that, for example, the Bhakra Dam water storage capacity is 6.122 million acre feet. Stopping all the Indus water from flowing to Pakistan would need, look at this number, 22 Bhakra-sized dams. Stopping all Indus water from flowing to Pakistan would need 22 Bhakra-sized dams. Am I correct with those numbers there, Mr. Bajaj? And that really is also part of the problem. That it's very, the rhetoric will say, let's cut down the flow. As the Prime Minister said today, India's waters belong to India. But you will need to put 22 Bhakra-sized dams.
Yes. Yes, there's a little bit confusion here. The Bhakra Dam is built on the Satluj River, which is part of the eastern river system, and this is one of the major dam components that is helping us to stop all flows of the eastern rivers to Pakistan. In fact, in the latest dam which has been constructed by India, now they are assuring that even the last drop of water from the eastern rivers will not go to Pakistan. But it has taken definitely these 30-40 years for us to build the infrastructure on the eastern rivers, by which we have been successful in harnessing all the waters in the eastern rivers within India. As far as the western rivers are concerned, of course, as one of the panelists has said, it is not easy to build so many dams. The Himalayas are an ecologically sensitive region. They are very young mountains and susceptible to earthquakes also. So, but I want to tell him that today we are much more advanced technologically, and we can build resistance to earthquake-proof dams. As in the Tehri Dam controversy that happened a few years back, so many activists were so worried that you are building such a high dam in a sensitive area. But we were able to convince them that no, this dam has taken care of all these problems that people are expecting, and even an 8.5 magnitude earthquake will not damage the Tehri Dam. So today we have advanced technologically in dam construction technology.
So you're saying it's
some
potentially,
of these issues that
you're saying potentially, technologically, it's possible to build that kind of infrastructure. But I just want a final word from you, Dr. Anjal Prakash. What is the short-term best-case scenario? Let's not even look. We are at the moment looking at sending out a message to Pakistan here and now. What is the short-term 6-month horizon message that can be sent out without necessarily jeopardizing the entire ecosystem of the area?
Yeah. So, I mean, the only thing that we can do for next couple of months is definitely what India is doing already now is to either the flood water or release the water without information to Pakistan. And these are the regions which will actually destroy the agriculture system totally, because it's going to be very difficult for them to manage. You also understand that in Pakistan especially, and I've done field work in those areas in Pakistan also, where I've seen that the dependence on of Punjab and Sindh on this water is hugely important for them. So this is definitely, and I've been saying this as a water as a strategic weapon, is also that you can use it and not share the data, and that will be there. Definitely people and the lower rung of the people in Pakistan, which is 30 to 40% people, will definitely be affected. But that is the way in which they will create pressure on their government so that these kind of things that we are facing as Indians are not going to be repeated again. And that's something very strong. And last point I would like to also make, when one is saying that water is a strategic weapon, when you are building these dams and diversions, you also have to take the military experience into account, because you cannot build it, because you also have to protect them from the future kind of a deterrence in the region. And that means that much more nuanced planning and the sophisticated planning also has to happen. That is what I'll say.
Okay, let me leave it there. Clearly, what we've tried to achieve through this discussion is more in the nature of an explainer to understand the challenges that India has, but also the opportunities of sending out a strong message to Pakistan in the tough times that we now are undergoing. Maybe water is perhaps at times a more effective weapon than a military strike. Appreciate my guests joining me on the show tonight.